unsnap. Hello everybody. I'm back for another week of Twitch and YouTube dueling, so I'll say it probably a billion-ish times, and that's fine, but I record on Twitch and I live stream, so sometimes I talk to chatters, and I also post it over to YouTube. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do the best of both worlds at the same time, which is probably too ambitious. I think they're very different formats. One's good for, some things, the other's good for other things. Interacting with chat, is something you just can't recreate with YouTube, whereas, when you're over on YouTube, you still want to speak to your audience, but your audience isn't there. Anyway, let's just stop about that kind of musing, and let's see what we can get into today. So, one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy about Battle for Zendikar is ingest. Let's just get some cards on the screen. There we go. So ingest. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top card of their library. And, that's kind of a silly mechanic that isn't very good, but then they give you cards that try to pay you for it. And what, your payoff spells. And a good example of a payoff card would be this guy. So, if you have two cards ingested, Blight Herder becomes awesome. Problem with ingest is you have to play with really horrible cards. Like, the dirt of dirt. People like Sludge Crawler, it's not a good card. Calling Drone, not a good card. These are way below power level. Infiltrators and Stormcrow. It's just like, this is not a good card. You just have to play with junk to get good effect, and that is essentially inconsistent. It's like a combo deck where the combo is only like, ooh, not bad. But let's try to, I had this crazy idea, so let's try to get to the combo through means that aren't bad. Instead of using ingest, let's try to trigger things like Blight Herder with cards that are actually good, or at least decent, like Horribly Awry, that do something. So we're going to set up all that exile-y stuff, and I'm thinking that blue-black is the place to be. I don't think you can really go elsewhere with this strategy at all. But let's see, things that exile stuff. And then we're also going to identify our big payoffs, the ones that are actually worth it. So I'll look for that. And I may come back to Sludge Crawler because it's probably the best of the bunch, but it's still, bad. So this is one of the cards that we definitely want to take advantage of that exile mechanic. Complete Disregard is another legit way to exile things. And, Mindraker isn't very good. That's another kind of Fool's Gold type card, in my opinion. And when I say something's not good, I'm not going to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to explain that. I kind of need you to bear with me. It's probably not good. Nullifier is not very good. But I think one might be okay. We'll just leave it there for now. Sire, I don't know. It's so good against ramp, so bad most of the time. But I think what this will be, because what I've got in my head is kind of a tap-out control-y shell where we play these defensive cards and exile some stuff for the beginning of the game, and then we start making big, super awesome plays. So that's what I'm looking at. It works with Titan's Presence, which is another card that on the surface isn't very good, but, if we're going to have some big colorless dudes, it might be alright. So we can try it for sure. Sower is going to exile some stuff. That's cool. Can we go all the way to Ulamog? We'll leave it there for now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to start, and I'm going to try to fill in some blanks. So, what we've got, let's see, I definitely want some more big creatures. If I'm going to use Titan's Presence, I got to be able to use Titan's Presence. Let's see here. So, things that we have to exile stuff would be this guy, and this over here, and a little of that, and a little of that. So, and this, of course. So that's plenty of exile effect. If we want to make Titan's Presence work, I think we need a bit more colorless, so maybe we'll look for some more devoidy options. And this is a lot of kind of early game control. Maybe we want to patch in some removal. We got a little bit, but not much. And just patch in some other good stuff. A Jace is an easy include here since we have a good spell count and they're decent spells. It's easy to also include a sweeper. It doesn't play great with, you know, like a Blighthurt or a Drowner, but it does. It's easy to want Languish. I think Telling Time to help set this stuff up is probably safe. Let's see what else. Scatter's a maybe. I'm a big Murklurker fan against like red decks and things like that. It's just a big stop sign, but I don't think it's right here yet. Maybe we'll come back to it. Sky Spawners you can use with Titan's Presence, but otherwise we don't really need that effect, I don't think. But we'll have to think about it since we don't have much to do about Planeswalkers. Cruisers, Rogues, Rogue's a maybe, probably not. This is a 3/2 and bounce a guy. Not good enough in my opinion. Just not enough effect. I think Disciple might have a place because of how many spells we're already spotting here. Reclaimer 2/5. Get back a spell. I think we can do better. Same with this. I mean, it's just too much mana for the effect. Sludge Crawler, I'm gonna just toss 3 in as maybes since we have, you know, nothing to do down here at low mana, and if our opponent's gonna go slow, Sludge Crawler's fine. If our opponent is gonna race us, he's just a really dumb looking roadblock. So Flesh Bag would come in handy against Gaia's Revenge, which we don't have a lot to deal with, but we have some big toughness creatures to trade with it. Like all these can trade with it. We can't counter it. Yeah, Gaia's Revenge might be a problem, but I don't think that's good enough to run Flesh Bag. It's tempting to run some Bone Splinters and draw some cards, though. Or Bone Splinters, read the bones. But I don't see the life gain. And in a format where life gain isn't exactly on every corner, casting Bone Splinters, or I said it again, casting Read the Bones can be a little suicidal. I said before Languish is pretty good. This is an interesting card that I kind of want to make happen. If it just said Regenerate, if it was just 4 mana Regenerate, it would be awesome. You know, and I'd want to try it out in a control deck like this. But since I have to have another colorless creature, it doesn't cut it. Which is too bad. Now I may come back to that, like we may lower the removal, up the colorless count like Perilous Mirror or something like that, and then try him out. Because he's actually a really good rate. I mean, not blocking is stupid for a control deck, but being able to shrug off removal by regenerating, just being 4 power for 4, it's almost duels playable, which is pretty funny. And what am I missing? I'm usually missing something. It's tempting to put in a Scab, but I actually don't like the rate on Scab. It's not a card I really like. Perilous Mirror is interesting. Let's check our curve. Our curve is pretty lopsided, but Mirror, I mean, it doesn't exactly work with everything here. Not really at all. We're more hoping to play against Mirrors than with them. Not gonna run ridiculous things like Gruesome Slaughter. Despoiler might, I mean, just going boom, 9/9 might be really dangerous against some decks. There might be decks that just can't do anything about this. I'm gonna consider a couple of those, and I think I'm gonna consider them over Ulamog. I don't think we have to go all the way to the top rope, so that's 6 drops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's probably fine. And then we've got some really good 5s. Although Disciple doesn't quite play with the theme, so it might get cut. And I think we're just really loaded down in the 3 spot, so I'm actually going to cut the Scatters and just lean on the Shrivels and the Horribly Arise because they're with theme. They're on Flava. And let's see. 13's actually not bad. I think I want the 10 1 and 3 drops. Like, I think I really want this set, even though I'm not a big Sludge Crawler guy. We have 20 spells. They're almost, I think one's a Planeswalker and the rest are instants and sorceries, which makes Disciple pretty darn awesome, so I don't think I cut that. I want a 25th land. Getting to 6 is gonna be work. So what's a card? I think we can... No, there's always targets for disregard, it seems like. I think Nullifier can go. I'm just not much of a fan, and especially now that we have the 9/9 that we're trying out, you know, blowing 2 cards to counter a spell, 2 of our exiles to counter a spell. Probably not what... We can probably do better. We can probably let him have that spell and cast a 9/9 and be better off. Okay. So, let's mana this up. So this is a kind of a new Bruin right on camera with you guys, and I will probably get wrecked because I'm sure this strategy has been done. I've never seen it, you know, successfully played against me, but I'm sure other people have tried it. And let's see, it's Rogue's Passage. Like, we only have the 1 ingest thingies, so no, I don't think so. On Myers, I don't want tap lands. Not many, anyway. 4, and I think we can Boundaries, because I think we're just gonna occasionally need a little more push. It's a pretty underpowered deck, and sometimes you just need a few little Thopters to get to work for you. Alright, so steaming pile of ingesting, but kind of with good cards instead of with little insects and things. So it's like a black-blue control. We play control for the first 4 turns of the game, and then starting either turn 5 or turn 6, we just spike something huge and say, what you got? That's the strategy. I don't know if it's actually a good strategy. I'm pretty sure ramp can go right over it, but we can at least put it to the test. And let's see what happens. So we're going to go out with some kind of low expectations and see if we can shock ourselves. Much like the landfall deck that I did this with, I think it was 2 weeks ago, when I just brewed up a landfall deck and took it out for a video. And it actually did okay. Now, playing against randoms is, you know, I'll probably play plenty of 1 ranks, and it probably won't be nearly as impressive as playing in the tournament or playing with my friends, but that's what you have to remember. I have to remember, you probably already know, I have to remember that the way most people play this game is they try to build a cool deck, go out and have fun. And that's kind of what I'm doing when I do this type of series. I'm going back to the roots of just go out, find an opponent, and play with a deck. And I'm going to try to do it with something good enough that I'm not banging my head against the wall, like ingesting things with a Mist Intruder. But hopefully, and you never know. Every now and then you do this and you catch on to something and you make a deck that is at least a little bit competitive, can get to middle tier, you know, can do some damage in tournaments or in leagues. %, of my focus when I play is, can I build a deck or tune a deck that's already a top dog type deck in the field, or almost a top dog, like I spent last week working really hard on different Aristocrats or Nantuko Husk decks. Just because I feel like there's so much power there, there has to be a way to make it good enough to beat all the other decks, and that journey is still in progress. I've certainly tried a lot of colors and a lot of cards, and I've got it pretty tight. It's like narrowed down. I know exactly what the cards are that are really good in the deck, and finding the right support players has been a challenge. Kind of like finding any players whatsoever on Xbox who can connect a match is a challenge. Not that it's on the players, it's certainly on the game design. And I'm not one to go too far in complaining about Stainless or the game design. They've certainly, you know, it's obvious where they stand. This is a little product they put out, and it kind of exists on its own. So yelling and ranting at them, that's probably not going to do a lot of good. I'm disappointed because it could be a lot better. But it's just so frustrating. Like, problems like this where you just can't connect to a match quickly, seem like they should be fixable. It seems like, or another one is the Green Warden of Marasa bug, where it doesn't get you back the card when it goes to the graveyard. The card specifically reads that you get the card back. So for it not to work, for it to be bugged for so long, and for them to say we're going to update it in 4 months, it feels really, obviously, you know, they're not worried about gameplay, and they're not worried about the cards doing what they say they'll do. They're not worried about how long we have to get matches. That's a little frustrating. I'm not into that. I think they have more responsibility to players, but we also aren't entitled to that. I think that they should do it because they should take pride in their work. That's what gets to me. It's like Stainless and Wizards have a product out there with cards that don't do what they say they do, and a bad experience as people try to find matches, and they don't fix it because they don't have to. So to me that says they don't take pride in their work, and that's what bothers me. We aren't in, you know, we have what we have. They gave us this game, it's ours, we get to play it, that's cool. I just wish that they'd take a little more pride and make it better. And that's just a little side rant as I'm waiting to get in a game so that I have something else to talk about. And what else have I done today? Oh yeah, my Oath of the Gatewatch cards arrived, so I've been sorting those out and making sure the condition is fine and getting those ready for F&M and maybe a trip to Columbus this weekend, play some SCG Open, we'll see. And so I'm really excited about the Oath cards that I got, and I had an idea that, you know, Wizards, they're not going to give us the list of what's in Oath of the Gatewatch in our expansion, and we don't get it until April, which really kind of, it lets us all sour on the cards a bit. You know, by then we'll already know what the good cards from the set are, and most of the brews will have already happened. So I had this weird idea that I would I would just write about the set, all of the cards, and then I would make what I think they'll give us, a list of cards that I think they'll give us, and brew some decks with it. That could be fun. I think I did that before Battle for Zendikar came out. This is absurd. I think that was 5 in a row. Typically, you know, every other, or maybe like 2/3 will flake out like this, but that's 5 in a row, and that's... the world is after me. They don't want my stream to go easy peasy. Oh well. So be it. But yeah, I think it would be fun to do an article talking about Oath cards and what those would do in duels, and maybe just go over the whole set and say I think this will be in duels, this won't be in duels, because I have opinions about that kind of stuff too. I think that there's a clear trend with how they choose to give us cards, and it's not very hard, in my opinion, to look at the list and say, well, we're not getting that card. Oh my lord. So, are the servers down today? I'm starting to think the problem might be a little deeper than just me being unable to find a game. Let's see. One way to check if the servers... if it opens up pretty quick, the little invite thing like it just did, that means that Xbox servers are okay. So did everybody just drop this game at the same time? Did we all get over it and break up? I think there are other people playing. And go out here and check out Turbo Sniper's out there. He's got a game. Looks like he's got a game. I know he plays on Xbox, doesn't he? Pretty sure he does. Yeah, he does. So other people are finding games. It's just me. And for those of you who don't know, my conspiracy theory for this situation is that Wizards has a massive collection of data, and they know that when I get matched up against these 1 and 0 ranks that they love to put me against, I smash them so brutally that they smash their controller on the ground, they uninstall the game, and they never ever play Magic again, which of course is bad for Wizards. So they block. So when I'm on here and they don't want to match me with those guys, they're like, we're just going to give him the spinning wheel, and he's just going to have to wait forever. We're not going to pair him up. That's the strategy. That's the conspiracy theory for keeping CGB off the servers, Come on now, please. Please, may I have a match? I would like to play a game. It's actually acting funny. Usually there's a little gold thing that appears in the corner, it blinks, and then it comes back. And it's not doing that. So something is off. Something is off. Maybe I have to restart the app or something? So yeah, this broadcast might go down while I try to fix this, but I will come back and try